Okay, welcome. So let me quickly show you what I did. So this is the sheet. This is what you will do. Just open the sheet. All right, so this is the worksheet. Okay, so normally as this is involved here, one of your skill is the aspect of financial data entry. So that part you must come and be creating to enter a new sheet for a particular new customer. So for example, this is a ledger account statement for the first customer. I gave C1 as the code, and that's Mrs. Linda. So you can give you can rename it and call it Mrs. Linda. So Mrs. Linda now have an opening balance of 50,000, which is savings. You can see it's also reflected in her balance. Now I created a balance summary sheet which captures the total balance for each customer, the account balance. So you can see Mrs. Linda here. I entered Mrs. Linda here, and then I linked this. I used equal to. I entered equal to. Then I went to her own account statement and link the balance. I click it and say enter. So that's what we have here. So once you do this, it reflects automatically in the overall account balance for all customers here. So if you're looking for account balance of all customers, it will be reflected here. Okay, so I can call this overall balance, customer balance. If you notice, if I go back to C1, which is Mrs. Linda's account, and then I say take note that in the balance summary here, the overall balance is 140,000. Mrs. Linda's account balance is 50,000. So let's say as at 2nd July, Mrs. Linda withdrew 10,000 naira. So I'll come here to withdrawal account amounts column and enter 10,000. You can see automatically it reduced the balance of 50 and bring down 40,000 now. So now it also updates the balance summary. The balance summary is now updated to 40,000 as our account balance, and also affect the overall balance. So I believe this is easier to understand. Now the only challenge here is in the aspect of the data entry. For example, I gave them a code from C1 to 50 customers to C50, and for the overall balance I linked up the grand total to that very place. I linked up the grand total where I said overall balance is going to be equals to whatever grand total we are having here. That's what I did to get that. Then for the grand total, I summed up from the first column here to the last here. That's how I code this using alt equals or auto sum. So what you're expected to do, if there are more than 50 customers, just come below over here, come to this grand total here, right click and say insert, so that it will give you a space to put the next one, which code you will use C51. You enter the customer's name, automatically everything is going to capture since you did it that way. You understand? So all you're just going to do after creating the new column and row line is just for you to come to the last and drag it down, so that it's going to reflect that new one when you're making doing the kind of your changes which you must have already done, so you can see it now. So you can drag it down to reflect this. Then for this one you just say alt equals, so you will create this for every of them. Okay, so you just have to can use our auto sum here. Let's drag that it to be updated to the new sheet we have entered, which is 61. Okay, all right, so you can see it reflected. So we can call this C51. That's customer 51. So the first thing is to know the total number of customers that you have. So like I said, if we have a new customer who is customer number 3, okay, customer number 3, let's assume that there is no customer for number 3, it was actually blank. and I have a new customer, I will just copy this template for customer 2, then open a new sheet, paste it. So that's just what I will do. Then let's say this new customer, his name is Dr. Ahmed. Dr. Ahmed. Okay, so all I'm going to do, since this is for Dr. Ahmed, I will clear this. So just have a new template. So I'll clear this. So for Dr. Ahmed, I will now come to balance summary and enter him as the third customer, whose name is Dr. Ahmed. Good. So for this is total balance, you will link it equal to, go to his own sheet, Dr. Ahmed's sheet, link it with his balance. So now it's 0. So that's what you will do. That's just how you enter your template for all your customers. Once you have done that, you don't have any problem again. So let me rename this to C3, which we know that is Dr. Ahmed. So you can put C3, you can say C3 bracket open, sorry, C3 bracket open Ahmed, under this Ahmed's account. So if Ahmed have an opening balance or deposited, which you could say is the opening, okay, savings amount of, let's say, 100,000. Once you hit it, it updates on his balance here, and if you go straight to the balance summary, it also updates as 100,000. Meanwhile, at the same time, it updates and adds up to the overall balances, giving us 230,000. So I believe this helps solve that problem. Thank you.